big exhibition coming up this weekend. What are your thoughts on what your team could get out of it, and what do you think about the matchups?
Well, not to be one of those coaches that just trying to motivate his team, but if we play like we did last night, we'll get our butts kicked. I mean, this team is the deepest, best team I've seen in a while. Deepest. I mean, like 12 deep. And we played them last year, so we know about them. Very well coached, but they've got a lot back, and they're a physical team, so we have to rebound better. I don't know what happened on that, but I did love how hard we played on the film. I mean, the first half, it was off the charts, and the ball movement was really good. The second half, I think we started playing the score a little bit, which is human, even though I hate to admit it. But this team we're playing is definitely a top 5 team deserving of their ranking.
Do you do any tinkering at all, or is it all about trying to win in this one?
It's funny because Rick and I are going to talk tonight. Tinkering, I mean, it's not about just trying to win. I mean, if it was closed, I think it would definitely, we'd do some other things, maybe both of us. But being open, as the game goes on, both teams will want to win, and TV and all the things. But I got to get some things done too. I mean, I got to get some guys a chance. Our freshmen last night, they were dead tired after 3 minutes, and I told them the day before, I brought all of them in and said, "This is the way it's going to be." And some of them believed me, some of them didn't, but that's the way it was. So I think the second game, they'll be better too, as far as just not as hyped up and everything, even though the game will be bigger and the crowd will be bigger and all the things will be bigger. I think those guys will be better. And then, I think our upperclassmen lost a little focus in the second half. And so I don't think I'm going to tinker a lot. I think I'm going to try to get the rotation down a little bit better.
Is that what you mean by get things done? Just sort of figure out
Yeah, I got to figure out, and they got to figure it out, Those things will be determined by them, I did promise, I said, I don't care what you're ranked, I don't care what you did last year. I haven't won enough games for the way this program is in the last couple of years, so I'm not worried about anybody's feelings. I'm worried about production, and production is something you control, and that's the way I'm going to look at it.
Tom, if I can ask you to take your coaching hat off for a second, I got a question for Steven's dad.
Yeah.
There's a great clip on social media with him going 2 for 2, and the look you have is priceless. Can you talk about what that was like, and going into your son's senior season?
Well, I'm allowed back in the house. My wife let me in the house. I've been out for 3 years now, so sleeping in the garage. But I think what it was, AJ, AJ, we've struggled at some things, and he's been really great. But with 4 minutes left as coach, you got to get Nick and Steven in there, And AJ really fueled a lot of that fire, and I'm a little mad at AJ because he's the one told him to shoot it as soon as you get it. So that first shot he took ruined my 3-point percentage, and I almost benched him because of it. But it was fun to see him have some fun, but it was more fun to see the fans and what they thought, and my players and what they thought. And I think that's the cool thing about being part of a team, and that meant a lot to me.
Right, thank you.
What are you looking forward to with your backcourt against their backcourt? I think they added a couple transfers.
They've added a lot of people. I mean, and now I say that, they had a couple guys that were sitting out. One of the transfers is the assistant coach's son who came, So, I mean, it was all in a good way. And but they are worthy of everything they're ranked. And the backcourts will be good, the front courts are going to be good, and the wings are going to be good. So our biggest problem now is they have so many different pieces. It's figuring out who's going to start, because I'm not even sure they know, and then who's going to play the most, and at what position are they going to play. And that's the part of this that's a little harder than normal. It's harder to get a scouting report on them, and we do a lot according to our scouting reports. So as they probably do too. But it'll be some of it we'll have to play as we go, and that's good too.
With Sissoko, are you noticing that his mechanics are smoothing out the longer that he's...
Yeah, his balance. Doug's done a good job with him, making sure he stays lower and he uses his dribble to keep his balance. Balance was something that I think he struggled with a little bit, and shooting his free throws was a big deal. As we all know, he was not a very good free throw shooter, and he's really improved that. But he works on it. Every day at 8 o'clock, he's in here working on his free throw shooting. So I think he's got to make him drag Coop with him now. And yet Coop has really shot well in practice. I think he got a little nervous in the game, but Marty is improving. We thought last night he wasn't quite as good defensively on the ball screens. He's been the best we've had, and so always something for him to improve on, and we'll talk about that in the days to come.
You didn't do the scrimmages or the exhibitions against high-level teams for a lot of years. What have you gotten out of these? You've done Gonzaga a couple times, you've done Tennessee. What does that do for a team?
Well, I think that was another one of the good moves. I don't know why they don't, I say, open it up and maybe let us do that and give to a charity. It'd be good to, it can be any charity. It could be the Boys and Girls Club in your community. It could be something like that, and maybe teach players how to give back, in different ways. I think would be a hell of an idea for one. I also think, though, it's benefited us a lot. Some people are playing 2 games, but when they're behind closed doors, I always like to get our freshmen out in front of a crowd in one of them. So we've gone 1-on-1, but I think it's been tremendously valuable. As you say, we've played Gonzaga twice. We've played now Tennessee twice, and I'm going to always try to pick some teams that I think are going to be really good and create some issues that we don't, and from different conferences, so that we can grow in that area.
We may have asked you this already, but do you remember whose idea it was to use this exhibition to benefit Maui and the Wildfires?
Well, I know I talked about it right off the bat. I heard Kansas was going to do it first, to be honest with you, and Illinois. And I called KP and I said, let's petition. I said, what a great idea, what a great cause. And I thought it'd be great for our fans, since we're both ranked in the top 5 or 6. How many games do you get at anybody's arena where you got 2 top 5, 6 teams? So it was one of those win-win-wins. But the biggest win is to Maui, because I can't even imagine the devastation those people have been through. And I think I'm going on my 5th time next year, and I don't know if Rick's on his 4th this year. But we both, when 2 coaches have spent 8, 9 different trips to Maui, we probably owe them something too. So I'm glad Rick felt the same way I did.
I guess how different would it be if it was behind closed doors? Like if you could have your way in that way, how different would you want it to be? Or what would you want
We might come up with a couple of things, like have a little session that's just on out of bounds plays, or a little session where we both play zone, or we might also just I think you'd sub more freely. I mean, the competitive juices are going to go, and maybe some of the subs that would play 15, 18 minutes will play 12 minutes now, maybe not. But I think all that, especially with those young guys, I mean, they're trying to figure out how to put their shoes on in the locker room yet. So it's going to take a little time to get them back to normal. I thought Carson Cooper said it best. He came in and met with me today, and I said, well, how'd you feel? And he says, remember when you talk about the game slows down your second year? He goes, it was slow motion compared to what I went through last year. And I think that's for everybody.
I noticed not only were you pressing, but you denied passing lanes in the half court too, getting out there a little bit more.
I didn't want to do that as much. I did want to do more in the full court, because what happened in the half court is they drove us a little bit more. And when they drove you a little bit more, that's where those offensive rebounds came in, because people were out of position. So there's always a mission to my madness, and I've told you 100 times that the reason I think we were a good rebounding team, we did a better job going on the offensive end, which tomorrow we'll probably rebound for an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. But more importantly, defensively, when you don't give up dribble drive because you play more gap defense, people don't get out of position, you're in a better position to cut out. And I learned last night why I don't usually deny. We got a little excited. We had some turnovers. Tyson did we want to put pressure on the ball. We want to be in gaps off. Tyson put so much pressure on that Jaden got a little carried away, and it was good. We got a couple steals, but they got some dribble drives on us. That's normal if you're pressing up that hard, and I think that caused some rebounding issues.
Anything else, guys? Ladies?
Hey,
I know. I
you
couldn't.
sexist, you. Hate when he does that. Straighten him out quick. Those SIDs, he needs a little training.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, living with two women, you'd figure I would.
Yeah, those poor women. Living with you. Go ahead.
Freshmen, did you get any feedback from them about their first?
Yeah, I think Jeremy realized that, because he did play hard as hell. I mean, early, and he realized how good a shape you got to be in. Now, remember for those 4 freshmen, first time really, really, really in front of when it mattered. You could be in the best shape of your life and you're going to get tired. But I think he realized that. I think Book realized that he didn't rebound like he should and could. And, we're picking apart Book, and he gets, 6 points or something. He gets 3 blocks. He did some things well. Cohen, if he wouldn't have missed that dunk, he'd have been our leading scorer. He said he was too high up. I said, well, then lower yourself. He says, how do I do that? I said, I don't know. I've never been that high up to figure that out. But he learned something. And then Garrick, who I didn't even know if was going to play because of his ankle, he did some good things too, but he said it was fast and, didn't realize just how physical it gets. That team was physical. I'm telling you, I went by and shook arms. They don't have arms like most of you. They have arms. They were men, and I give them credit on that. That team will win some games, but all in all, I think they just realized they got a long way to go, but really enjoyed the night.
Tom, you always talk about Rick Barnes being friends. What's the origin of you guys' relationship?
I first met him when I was in, I think when he was at Ohio State working for Gary Williams. And, we always been friends. I always appreciated. When he was at Clemson, he went at, remember North Carolina, he had that Dean Smith incident. And, he was just a guy that always took these smaller programs because Clemson wasn't any good then. And then when he went to Texas, we played each other a lot, including Kevin Durant. In fact, I was out in D.C. and I was recruiting a kid, and Kevin Durant's dad had kind of coached him, and he was at the practice, and he brought up, I remember when that little white guard, Neitzel, he says, he scored the winning bucket at Madison Square Garden. We were laughing about it, and it kind of shows you how far back it goes. But then it really came to fruition when we went to Kuwait together. We spent 8 days together over there, and he was just a riot. I really enjoyed him, and so we have mutual respect because I think we try to do it the right way, and he's done it the right way, and he coaches them hard, and he's demanding, and he's had a lot of good teams, and his incident at Texas, meaning I don't think there's any way should have been let go or whatever he was. That humbles you, and we became friends during that because I told him what a joke that was. And I don't know, we're not best friends and we talk all the time. We're just very respectful friends that appreciates things.
And when you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I guess this is very off topic, but in a world where transfer portal is so active and stuff, to have so many guys come back, you touched on it a little bit last night, but just how unique is this group of guys to come back after they didn't like the way last season ended and wanting to kind of have some vengeance?
Well, I give Tyson, I give all of them credit. I mean, everybody can leave. Hell, my son could have left. Everybody can leave. But I give Tyson and Malik credit because for those two guys, they didn't even know if they're going to play again. And I think that's kind of the bond that you get. And when they were here for our grind week and all the guys came back, I think they realized how special a place this is. And it is special. And it's like no other in that respect. And I got to do a better job of building on that because whether we win or lose this year, we do have something special, and I appreciate what they did, and I think they appreciated that I'm trying to keep everybody together, and so it's all good.
You mentioned something about Barnes also. When you guys had scrimmages, is there also an appreciation that in some ways he coaches the same way that you do, so that when you get feedback from him after the game in terms of
Oh yeah,
self-scouting
we
and
shared
things?
some things after the last game, things we thought, and during the year, once in a while, we'll contact each other. Hey, I saw you play. What about this, this, and this? I saw you play, and we commiserate together as coaches do. But since I have great respect for him, I respect what his answers are. I expect what his thoughts are, and that's fun, And we're not trying to steal each other's players or anything like's going on now in college basketball. So it makes it even easier.
You'll probably get with him a day or two after the game to get.
Oh yeah. We'll talk about, kind of give each other our own scouting report on each other. Yeah, we'll do that.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys.